What's going on, Nerd Nation? Welcome back to the Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode 37 today.
37?
37. This is a little bit smaller crew than normal. Brian had plans this weekend, and Pirate was actually out of town camping and got held up by some traffic on his way back, so he might be able to join us later in the show. I'm not sure. But we'll just kind of have to go with it. I'm Fox 2. We're also here with Topher.
You sound like you're not sure.
That did come out like a question. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That did kind of sound like a question. Is that Topher? Maybe.
It looks like him.
Could be.
Me.
Maybe. So let's talk about what we've been reading. We'll go ahead and start with you. Have you had a chance to read anything?
I have not read much this week. Let's see here. Nothing new, I don't think, actually. I haven't read anything new. I was reading some more Marvel Cosmic stuff after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy and having read that that series from several years ago. I finished reading like the rest of the cosmic stuff from several years ago, so my cosmic side is pretty much caught up with AVX, which was all the stuff on Earth and Marvel that I was reading. So so now I can finally start like all the current modern Marvel now stuff. That way, when you guys start complaining about how this Marvel event sucks and that Marvel event sucks and talk about DC, I can say, "Oh, hey, but I read some good Marvel books lately, and here they are."
Fair enough. I actually was. I went up to the flea market yesterday, me and the girlfriend, and we were looking at some different comic vendors up there, and there was a guy that had a whole section of Guardians of the Galaxy books. Like a pretty good, probably 60 to 70 in a section. I don't know how many of them were like duplicates.
Yeah.
But it was a really good collection of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was really surprising to me because he didn't have that many overall comic books.
Which Guardians of the Galaxy?
I
remember which series it was.
Honestly, I don't know because I've not really read any of their stuff, so I couldn't tell you one from the other.
I mean, did it have like Rocket Raccoon and Groot, or was it like the old? Different lineup with
older,
completely different people.
It looked old, like 80s-ish would be where the time frame where I would put this.
I think it was 80s, 70s or 80s when the original team.
Okay. Well, anyway, like my point is that like because of the movie, I'm sure like he was asking like $5 and $6 for every single issue, and I was like, man, dude, a month ago. These books would have been in the 50-cent box over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been...
They still should be, because, honestly, none of the characters from the movie are in that book.
Right, well, it's just the name. I mean...
because the older series was a completely different team. And then the, StarLord and Rocket Raccoon and Groot never even met each other until, Real World 2009, 2010, something like that. So, I mean, that's a later series. So I don't know. I wouldn't pay that much for it.
No, I wouldn't. I wasn't going to either. I was like, because I saw it, I was like, oh man, it might be nice to pick up a couple of those. If they're like 50 cents or at most $1, maybe pick up 4 or 5 of them, read a little bit of it, get the taste buds a little wet, and then go see the movie next weekend. I think is when we're going to end up seeing it. But or later this week, I'm not sure yet.
Still haven't seen it?
I haven't had a chance, man. Just been out, went and bought a car yesterday, and then we were out all day. But anyway, so I was wearing I have this shirt. It's a black shirt. It's got Superman on one side, kind of perched on the top of a building, and Batman on the other side.
Batman on the other, with the cape kind of curled out. Yeah, I know that picture.
You've seen. Okay, so I'm wearing that shirt, and I can't tell you how many fucking times I'd be looking through somebody's stuff, and they've got 90% of their shit is just random crap, and then they have this box of dollar comics, and it's independent shit from the fucking 90s that nobody wants and is probably not even close to worth $1. And the person would come up and like wouldn't leave me alone because they saw the shirt. They're like, oh, well, this movie's next. And it's like, they're telling me shit like they're like the ultimate authority on what's happening in the comic book world. And everything that they're saying is completely wrong. I mean, it's like one guy was trying to tell me that there was 7 more comic book movies that are coming out this year. Like, no, there's not. Like, there's not even 7 more months that are coming out this year. Like, let alone comic book movies. So, fuck off. But, I mean, it got to the point where I literally turned to my girlfriend and I was like, I don't want to wear comic book shirts out to flea markets anymore when we're going comic book hunting because I just get pestered.
You get a podcast, you release 36 episodes, and suddenly you think, like, now everybody else you're the expert, and everybody else's knowledge is crap.
By no means am I the expert. Let me just preface it with that. By no means am I the expert, but I just thought it was really funny.
If you're buying from the dude who's selling his personal stash off, you probably want to make it look like you're not a fan of comic books.
Well, there's that too, right? But as far as what I've been reading, I actually read a fair amount this week. Not a ton, but I read the new Batman Eternal. I'm still really enjoying the Batman Eternal stuff. If you're a Batman fan, even if you want to wait until it comes out in trade paperbacks, it's totally worth the investment. It's a really good story. I'm really, really enjoying it. Then let's see, what else did I read? Green Lantern. The new Green Lantern, I think it was number 33 or 34, came out pretty... I'm really enjoying the Green Lantern stuff as well, but they tease on the cover that you're going to prepare for the end of Simon Baz, which is the newest Green Lantern. I don't know if this means like that they're hinting that he's going to die, or if they're hinting that, he may not be a Green Lantern for long, or what, but we do know that I think in the fall or later this year sometime, there's that giant Green Lantern universe crossover event that that was, we were told about by the writers of the Green Lantern. So that could tie into, that. This could be like a precursor.
Have they killed off any major characters in DC since New 52?
Permanently or at all?
Well, I mean, as permanent as it gets in comics, but that actually died or are presumed dead without a series by the reader for...
I'm trying to think, was
months.
Was Blackest Night, was that during...
That was pre-New 52.
So what about Wrath of the First Lantern? That was all pre-New 52. So I don't think so. I don't think they've killed anybody off other than the whole Dick Grayson thing, but he's not really dead.
And they didn't really kill him.
Right. They just kind of
ish.
Superheroes think he's dead, but
he was dead for a minute or something.
Yeah, it's
until, yeah.
What else did I read? I read the final
second Grayson came out this week.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say I read that. I like it. I'm going to keep going with it. I
picked it up. I haven't read it yet. Is it decent?
It's decent. It's not stellar. Like, it's not like the groundbreaking, like, oh my god, I can't wait till the next one. But it's good enough that, like, it makes me kind of want to keep reading a little bit more. Like, so we'll see. I'll at least give it till like 5 or 6 to determine whether or not
the first arc out.
Right, until I can figure out if it's something that I really want to keep going with, or if it's just kind of like, you know what, fuck this, I don't want to. And then I also read the final Original Sin, Incredible Hulk versus Iron Man thing, and I have to say, I've been extremely critical of these books, and I like how they tied it up. I like how they tied it up. They did it in a way that it wasn't Tony Stark's fault.
Right.
But he actually did make some changes to the Gamma Bomb, but they were to help save Bruce Banner, not like... He actually toned the bomb down.
Yeah, he wasn't responsible for creating... I talked to a buddy of mine, a friend of mine who kind of gave me the rundown on on how it shaped up,
Mm-hmm.
because I was asking him how he felt about it, and he said they actually finished it out pretty decently.
They did. They
It's
really
like, I don't
did.
really want to give it away. I'm like, I'm not going to read it until probably like 6 months from now when it comes out on the app on Unlimited. So
Mm-hmm.
go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and tell me. And he kind of ran through it. And one thing he said, I still don't know how I feel about. I mean, I didn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the big Hulk fan, so I mean, if you're happy with it, then I guess it can't be too bad.
I'm more
Um,
happy now than I was originally. I'm still not thrilled
I
with the idea of it, but
I still don't. I don't really care for Tony Stark. Like, I feel like I get it. He's supposed to be like an abrasive jerk,
mm-hmm.
and he does that well. But it's not that I don't like him as a character. I dislike that they've been overusing him so much. They're killing off Wolverine soon, but I feel like Tony Stark is the new Wolverine. Like, he appears in everything.
Yeah,
He
yeah, I
showed
agree.
up in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's like the go-to guy for the Avengers now. He's always the one to solve the. Steve Rogers is the leader of the Avengers. Well, not anymore. But Iron Man's always the one who ends up like saving the day, kind of thing. And Iron Man has almost gotten to the point, especially now with the movies and Robert Downey Jr. doing such a great job of playing that character on
That's why.
screen.
That's
I
exactly
know
why.
that they've been featuring Iron Man so much in everything, and he's been a part of everything. And I think it's a fad, and I don't like big changes to origin stories of important characters because of a fad,
Yeah.
and I'm still against it for that reason. But one thing my friend Tom pointed out when he was telling me about it was that he kind of liked how it it explained a little bit more how Bruce created the bomb, and showed that Tony was really impressed with
Yeah. Yeah.
what Bruce had come up with, but realized it was going to be more powerful than he intended, tried to tone it down, and it was because of Bruce's, you know, irritation and anger over them bringing in Tony Stark to look over his shoulder that he just outright ignores Tony's warning email,
Yes.
and in a moment of rage, basically, like, goes through with it anyway and ends up becoming the Hulk. And so he as he pointed out, and I kind of have to agree with him on this one, they kind of brought in the whole angry aspect of Bruce's personality into the creation of the Hulk.
Right.
And so it wasn't just necessarily an accident, like the whole huge hulking rage monster is now
Is part of
a
his
little tied a
personality.
little
Yeah.
bit more to his personality, and
Yeah.
the fact that he can go into a bit of an angry rage now and then.
Yeah, I agree. I really, you kind of give me a little bit of crap, rightfully so. That lately I have definitely been a bigger fan of the DC stories versus the Marvel stories. I mean, I'll always be an Incredible Hulk fan through and through, but I'll give Marvel credit here. They did, I feel like, a really, really nice job wrapping that up in a fashion that it didn't just completely trample on the origin story of the Hulk. Like you said, it kind of tied in beautifully there at the end, where it just touched on the rage aspect of his personality, and kind of exposed you to that aspect of Bruce Banner before he was Hulk. And that wasn't, if you read through the very first issue, the origin issue of Hulk, that wasn't, you never saw that. You never got to see that part of his personality. Probably because they never thought that the shit would be as big as it is. But,
Right.
but you weren't ever exposed to the fact that that was part of who he was before the transformation happened into the Hulk. So it kind of plays into the series that took place in the 90s, where I think it was the late 90s, where you really discover that there's multiple Hulks within Bruce Banner, and each one represents a different personality of his. So I like I said, I was extremely critical for all the way through the first three issues, but man, this last one, I'm really happy with how they ended it out. yeah, I give them all the credit in the world. Um, I haven't got to read. We picked up while we were out the Batgirl #1, not just the trade paperback volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
So from New 52, I'm gonna read through that. Hopefully by next week. That should be really good as well. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I've got that sitting right here, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The first I've only read the first couple arcs up through basically Night of the Owls, which was actually seeing her issues in the Night of the Owls collected edition one was what made me think, oh, I kind of want to read some more of this.
I was thinking the same thing after reading Death of the Family. Some of the most interesting and entertaining, like engaging stories in there are the Batgirl stories, and it's like, man, that's some good ass writing. Like the writer is
Gail
Simone. Yeah, she does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, she's done a really good job with that character. She's actually a little bit of news here. She's actually not going to be writing Batgirl anymore as of October, I want to say. Issue 34. Well, a lot of people were upset, but they said she's moving on to some other project that they haven't named. That she's not just. It wasn't like quitting over creative differences or anything like that. She's moving on to do a different project there. So they haven't said what it's going to be yet. But I'm kind of interested to see what it is, because yeah, she did a great job with that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Then the new Batgirl creative team is actually getting a lot of hype right now, because starting with issue 35, they're kind of doing a redesign of the character a little bit and giving her a different costume and everything, and they. I don't know, like I like the costume. The costume's awesome.
I do
She's
too.
wearing more of like a. Have you've seen it?
Oh, the new one? No. I like the one.
Oh, they're redoing her costume now. She's gonna be wearing more like it's almost more like a leather jacket type design. It looks a lot more modern. And they've made her look a little younger, actually. I really like what they did with the costume, because it looks more like something that someone would actually put together, and she's wearing a leather jacket, with the. I mean, it's still like the Batgirl symbol and everything, but it's basically a jacket with a cape that snaps on over the shoulders.
Oh yeah,
and she's wearing like yellow combat boots and whatnot. It's actually a really good look, and I like that it looks a little more realistic instead of the typical like ridiculous spandex outfits.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I think I like the current one a little bit better.
Well, so far the costume has gotten a lot of positive press. Like lot of people are super happy about it. Hey, that looks like something someone would actually wear, rather than have their chest stuffed in spandex for all the world to see, running around trying to do gymnastics in. So it'll be interesting. I'm a little worried that it seems like they might be making the character a little less adult, though. Like, I mean, I get that I think she's like early 20s or something, supposed to be.
Yeah.
And some of the promotional images make it look almost like she's going to become more of like, almost socialite teenager type.
Do you think that they'll incorporate her into the Teen Titans then?
I
really hope not.
I doubt it. I doubt. I mean, she's still too old. They're giving her a younger look, but I mean, I don't think they're not like changing her backstory or anything. She's still a young adult living on her own in her early to mid 20s, I think. I mean, so they're not making her younger and like creating a different version of the character. It's still Barbara Gordon. But it looks like they might be targeting a slightly different audience with it. So it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up.
Let's talk news for a minute here. I've got a couple pieces. You may have some. We'll get through this. This first one is probably going to be mainly a one-sided conversation, because I was anticipating having Pirate here. This is a bit of Arrow news for season 3. The cast of Arrow recently did a Q&A video where they responded to some tweets that were sent to them, questions that were sent to them, and one of the questions was, is there going to be any costume changes at any point for the Arrow, for the actual, for Oliver Queen, for the Green Arrow? And they confirmed that at some point during the third season, which is this upcoming season, there will be some changes made to the costume of the Arrow. So I have no idea what this means whatsoever. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what this means, but I really hope that it means that they're going to push it a little bit, just ever so slowly inch it closer and closer and closer to what the the comic book version of the Green Arrow is. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I don't know if we'll get early images of this, or if this sounds like something that they'll probably wait to reveal as it happens, kind of thing. So
I think I recently heard that they're bringing in another one of the big DC heroes into Arrow at some point. I know we've got Green Arrow and Flash, but I thought
Arsenal.
I heard that
Arsenal is in it.
Right. But it was somebody like even bigger than that. I thought it was another like Justice League member or something that they were talking about having appear at some point.
I don't know about that. I know the main villain is Ra's al Ghul this season.
Okay, maybe I misheard, but I'm just wondering, like, if they're ever. They've said that they don't plan on crossing over their TV and movie franchises.
Yeah,
is that true?
Yeah, I don't see them doing that at all. Based on
Are they
the way
really
that they're
going to do?
running this.
Are they really going to do Justice League without the Flash?
I don't think they'll do that. No, actually, no, they won't do it without the Flash, because one of the movies that was announced was there a Flash movie announced? No, not yet. I thought there was. I'll have to look into that, but I'm sure they won't do a Justice League without the Flash. I think it'll just be two different flavors of the Flash, basically. You'll have your TV and you'll have your cinematic. It's going to be two different. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that'll be confusing for viewers?
I
mean, you and I
think
get it, but I mean, the average audience.
I think it absolutely could be. I think that, and I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think what Marvel did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a great thing for their universe. I think that they have set themselves up to where they could potentially spill some of those characters over into the TV universe whenever they want to draw those ratings up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it'll make perfect sense to the average viewer because they saw the movies. They watched the show, but they saw the movies, and I don't know how it'll go. I honestly don't. And we know Brian's Brian's opinion on the whole thing is that Batman v Superman is going to suck, and it really might. I don't think it's going to. My personal opinion, I think they're going to do a really nice job with it. There's too much out there as reference of what a good superhero movie is now. That
right.
Even Spider-Man is Fox is making. The Spider-Man movie wasn't bad, but they went and they made Days of Future Past, and it was excellent. It was a really, really good, it was right up there with the Marvel movies. So, in my mind, there's no reason that DC, Warner Brothers can't step up to the plate and use those as templates and say, look, this is what made this fucking work. Like, why wouldn't we put our money into something and make it work like that? There were problems with Man of Steel, obviously. A lot of them. there was a lot of them. But it wasn't a terrible movie.
The destruction of the entire city of Metropolis.
Right. But it wasn't an unwatchable movie either. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't. I still enjoyed it. You can make several critiques about it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little different stylistically. I appreciated that they tried to go for I don't even want to say darker, because a lot of people try and just make stuff darker and edgier, and it just, you can tell they're trying too hard. This wasn't your typical bright, happy colors superhero movie.
Right.
It wasn't darker in tone, but it was darker in color, and
yeah, it contained a lot more despair.
It took itself a little more seriously, and it had a lot of quiet moments, and like it was an interesting use of audio white space. I'll put it. I thought it was stylistically done very interestingly, even if they did end up having the hero destroy an entire city and rack up billions of dollars of damages and probably kill several civilians in the process.
Yeah, that's an understatement. But
gotta crack a few eggs, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. You want that omelet or what? So
speaking of superhero movies, then, and Batman v Superman, you break the big news there on that one, and with a little "I told you so."
Oh, I mean, we can. I don't think this isn't an "I told you so." This isn't what the wager was. Not even about this, but we can talk about that too. So Batman v Superman, Warner Brothers moved the release date of their film up to March of 2016, and Captain America 3 is staying at May of 2016. I mean, am I disappointed? Yeah, a little bit. It would have been nice to see him go head to head, but from the beginning I've been saying, like, it makes sense. Like, somebody's gonna fold. Like, financially, if they both go against each other, as cool as it would be from a comic book fan's perspective to see that and see them kind of duke it out, so to speak, Marvel versus DC, but the reality of it is
wins in that situation.
They're both going to take a financial hit if they do that.
Neither one's going to do as well, because exactly. I mean, even people who like to go to the movies and rush to see things on opening weekend, and
a lot of them aren't going to see
you wait for a while, but I know it's hard enough finding time to get everybody together to go see one movie in a weekend, much less go to two.
Right, exactly.
So, and like when you look at the box office numbers for the year, later on, or you look at the record list for opening weekends, no one's going to remember, oh, it's because those two went head to head. It's just going to be like, wow, those movies did shitty.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think it was a smart decision financially. It's kind of a bummer from a fan standpoint. Like I said, it would be really cool to see, the two of them duke it out, but that's, neither here nor there. Another side point while we're talking about these upcoming films, I read a schedule earlier this weekend that 30 comic book movies are slated between the beginning of 2015 and 2020 so far. 30 comic book films. That is fucking crazy.
I've got the schedule right here, actually, looking at them. You wanna go through them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if we went through them. We can, let's go through it.
Some of them are new.
Time.
Some of them are new, actually. Let's see here. 2015, we've got Avengers: Age of Ultron, Fantastic Four, Fox's new Fantastic Four movie.
Are we counting that as a movie?
I mean, I'm counting it until I see it and see otherwise.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'd love to see it do well, but I don't see it happening.
I certainly think that they have a challenge ahead of them. Fantastic Four has never done well with a major audience, so it'll be really interesting to see how they manage to do it. But I'm still a huge fan of the fact that they're trying to interconnect universes, and they're trying to do the whole, shared universe thing between the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And I think that's got some real potential, because, doing some spin-off movies in that universe and having Fantastic Four and the X-Men together,
that would be nice.
Kind of neat. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful.
As long as the Fantastic Four
saying...
doesn't drag down the X-Men. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, exactly.
As long as them being there isn't like, oh, fuck, now this movie's out.
Man,
like,
I liked the X-Men universe, and then they put the Fantastic Four in it. Now it sucks.
Yeah.
No, that's I mean, that's a possibility too, but I mean, I'm eagerly anticipating it. I think a lot of people have given him shit, myself included, when I first heard it, that they're going in a different direction, and they're not using a story out of the comics, and they're not, they've changed some of the character relationships a little bit, but I think it's a good change because clearly everything that anybody's done before with the original Fantastic Four team and everything has failed fairly miserably. So perhaps changing it up was the only way to make it successful. So, I mean, we'll have to see how the changes pan out. But I heard they actually wrapped up filming just last week on that. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So it's that'll be out next June, and then Ant-Man comes out in July. So those three next year: Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Ant-Man. Then DC will start 2016 off with Batman v Superman in March, and then Cap 3 is going to be in May. I mean, it won't be a head-to-head battle. I think I'd still be interested to know, if you were only going to see one movie,
which one would you pick
that weekend? Which one would have won? But we'll still have opening weekend box office numbers to tell which did better.
Yeah.
So there will still be. I'm sure they will still get compared, especially.
Oh, absolutely.
Having been lined up, pitted against one another there for a while. Then later in May we've got the X-Men sequel, X-Men Apocalypse. Which I'm thinking is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm very much looking forward to that. July, Marvel is going to put out another movie that they haven't stated what it's going to be yet. A lot of rumors going around that it could possibly Doctor Strange would be the next Marvel movie. If that outside of one of the current existing properties,
I'd love to see that.
Could be Thor 3, could be a standalone Hulk movie there. We don't know yet. They haven't said, but Doctor Strange is probably the next new property that Marvel's going to tackle. They've been in talks with Joaquin Phoenix, among others, for handling the role. So we'll see what they put there. And then in August, DC's got another one coming out just 5 months after, 4 or 5 months thereafter, after Batman v Superman. Then Sony is rounding out 2016 with Sinister Six. They're going to be doing a villain movie before they get around to the next Spider-Man one, and it'll be interesting to see how they do that one, because Spider-Man 2 didn't really finish very strongly at the box office.
It really didn't.
People, reviews were that, yeah, okay, there were a lot of special effects and there was some cool stuff, and I guess they followed the story, and there were some good performances by the actors, but somehow the whole thing just felt like it fell short. So they've got some making up to do.
I think part of it is the way that they have. What's the actor's name that's playing Spider-Man now? I can't remember his name.
Andrew Garfield.
I think part of it is the way that they've got him playing the character, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, the storyline of the death of Gwen Stacy, pretty awesome. I liked the story that they were telling in the movie. I didn't like some of the way that he acted, like jumping up on the stage and kissing his girlfriend in front of the high school, and like, that's not fucking Peter Parker. Peter Parker's not that guy.
He acts a little bit more like a hipster underachiever, class clown. And I mean, Peter Parker is definitely the class clown in a lot of situations, but I mean, in school, I don't think he was. Like, he's more the quiet, picked on,
right,
nerdy, smart guy. So it's, yeah, he definitely plays a little differently in this. So I think the actor does a good job with the way the role's written, but
I think it's definitely wrote the role poorly.
Written differently than I guess a lot of people would have hoped for.
Yeah.
So then 2017 is going to be a busy one looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 superhero movies in 2017. That is a lot of movies.
The one that I'm really looking forward to finding more about is the untitled Sony spin-off of a female Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
Are they going to do
2017?
Are they going to do Spider-Woman? Are they going to do
No, it won't.
Black
I don't
Cat?
think it'll be Spider-Woman, because Spider-Woman technically isn't really part of Spider-Man. She's not really a Spider-Man character. She's an Avengers character. So she doesn't really have any ties to Peter Parker. So I would bet that Marvel actually has the rights to her, not Fox, or excuse me, not Sony. But my money is on Black Cat. They mentioned in Spider-Man 2. I almost called him Harvey Dent, not Harvey Dent. Harry Osborn.
Harvey Dent.
Right? Well, I was like, Harvey Dent? No, Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn's assistant at Oscorp. They mentioned her name, and now I can't even remember what it was. God, what is her first name?
I don't have a clue.
Anyway, they called her by her first name, and it's Black Cat's first name, and it was very. It's not like a super common name, and so it seemed like it was a very pointed reference to something.
Slightly.
So my guess is it's going to be a Black Cat spinoff.
That's probably the case.
Especially since she's probably the character best equipped in Spider-Man's universe to be a leading role, female role to anchor a movie. So that could be interesting. Then Sony's also got a Venom Carnage spinoff that year. Yeah, that could be really interesting. And then Amazing Spider-Man won't be till the following year. But also in 2017, there's Marvel will have Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which, after seeing the first one, is bound to be awesome. And then 2 other untitled ones. DC has 2 untitled ones that year. And then Fox is doing their Fantastic Four sequel, and they're going to have another Wolverine sequel.
I don't know how I feel about that Wolverine movie. Unless it's Death of Wolverine, I don't see myself being overly interested in it.
I think I'm trying to remember what they had him under contract for. I think he's slated. Hugh Jackman is playing Wolverine in that movie, and
I think he's done. I think he's done after that.
I think that's it. I think that might be it.
Could be.
So who knows? That could be the death of Wolverine.
The timing would be right. I mean, with it happening soon in the comics, that would be pretty sweet. But everything after that's pretty much untitled at this point.
Yeah, everything after that.
1, 2, 3, 7 in 2018, 3 in 2019, and 2 so far for 2020.
And there'll probably be more than that.
Yeah, and it'll probably increase.
Put a flag down on the calendar for.
Now, I have something else that I want to touch on that I feel like the two of us could have a pretty good discussion about this, even though you're not necessarily a DC person and I'm not necessarily an Aquaman fan. But Zack Snyder, who is a famed director, went on the radio defending Aquaman. I don't know if you heard about this, but basically saying that, people were giving him, they were being a little bit too critical of him. He's kind of a badass. Saying that, Aquaman, his powerful line is that Aquaman's trident could actually cut Superman's flesh if the two came in contact. My question to the quote-unquote group of the day is, so I guess just to you and me, could Aquaman's trident...
The rest of the group, we'll talk amongst ourselves and come up with a consensus majority vote, majority opinion, and
we'll just tell them what their votes
I'll report it for them.
Yeah. could Aquaman's trident actually cut Superman? And now one piece of evidence, I guess, towards this case would be Justice League number 6. Aquaman actually stabbed Darkseid and drew blood with the trident. And Darkseid has been known to have Superman-esque abilities and strength and resiliency and stuff. What are your thoughts on this? Like, do you really see Superman being able to, like, fuck you, or Aquaman being able to, like, fuck you, Superman, like, fucking make a Superman kebab out of him?
I think it would be an interesting angle to take, because it's hard to show how badass a character is when, one, when they're out of their element, but two, when you're fighting alongside, powerhouses like Superman. It's Aquaman. I've never hated the guy. I mean, he's always the butt of a lot of jokes, but
Yeah,
I grew up watching Super Friends in the '80s, and I guess I will admit that I had, let's see here, I had the Superman action figure, I had Batman.
You had the Aquaman pillow, though, didn't you?
I had Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. I didn't have an Aquaman, so
you had all of them except for
the
Aquaman.
action figure. I didn't buy. Was Flash in that show?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, I was like, because I didn't have him either. Okay, so maybe Aquaman's the only. No, wait. No, I did have the Aquaman figure. I take it back. I guess I just didn't play with it.
You're like, I bought him, and then I stuck his ass in the closet and forgot about him.
Like most
which is
writers.
Almost worse.
Like most writers, I knew I had him around there, but I just didn't use him in my stories because I couldn't come up with anything good for him.
Couldn't come up with a good reason to play with that fucking toy.
But, I mean, they've tried to make him out to be, a lot cooler at times. I think they need to do a big event that has him at the center, that just gets him better press, like people who actually read the comics and they, who like Aquaman can point to a ton of times where, he's commanded entire armies and, like
visually, I think they did an awesome
telepathy,
job.
I mean, it's really cool what he can do, and he's got some cool powers. It's just that mainstream audiences, even for comic book nerds, don't necessarily know all of what he can do. He's never been the focal point of a story. I mean, he had some moments in Blackest Night that were actually pretty cool, but I think it would be really awesome is if they almost turned it into an in-universe in-joke where Aquaman becomes the butt of a joke amongst the superhero community, and then finally at some point,
snaps or something.
Snaps or it boils over, and you'd have to do it in a way that doesn't make him look like a bad guy, because if he's the bad guy in the situation, then it's not going to be, he's not going to be as well liked on the other, coming out the other side of it. But somehow we're he's under attack for making a stand for good. Kind of like how they did, AVX, Avengers versus X-Men, where it was a difference of opinion, and so they end up fighting each other, even though no one's really right and no one's really wrong. So that just pits Aquaman against the rest of the Justice League, and watch him just wipe the floor with them. And I think it would be awesome. And he'd be. If he was the focal point of a DC crossover, then I think he'd be getting a lot of better press.
I do think that visually, in the New 52, I think Jim Lee did a lot of good stuff for him. I think that there are some fucking badass images of Aquaman in the Justice League. I've not read any of the Aquaman solo title stuff, but I did get, for the first about year, I was reading every Justice League as they came out, and man, there are some fucking badass images of Aquaman, and even cover. He even got a couple covers that were just fucking textbook Jim Lee art with massive action, holding that fucking badass looking trident and shit. And he really looked like a fucking hard ass. And I'm just as guilty as the next comic book
Jim Lee can make pretty much anybody look good.
That's what I'm saying. Though. Have you seen this shit where he redid
He's doing the cover of Blueberry cereal?
Yeah. Like, does Booberry look like a fucking hard ass now? I'm really curious.
I mean, actually, he kind of looks high.
He does. He looks
high.
stoned as shit.
That's
kind of.
I mean,
he's
that's
like
what people who eat
Casper the
Booberry.
Puff Ghost or something.
There are probably a lot of people who sit around and get high and eat Booberry, though. So I mean, it's knowing your audience,
I suppose. But yeah, what I'm saying is like I think that you're 100% correct. If they did some kind of big crossover, and I don't know if they would devote enough resources to it to make it something like the Blackest Night or something like that magnitude of a crossover, because that thing was that crossover was huge.
That was
But if they did something like that, where even if Aquaman isn't the focal point of it, but at least he played a major part, because you go through these crossovers and it's like that motherfucker's like nowhere to be found for most of it. Like Forever Evil, he wasn't even like it. I mean, there was points where he came into play on it and shit, but like entire issues without even, I don't even think you saw him or anything. And it's like you're willingly making him into like a fucking B-list character at that point because you're just leaving him out. And it's like there's got to be something. Fuck it, do something that changes his powers if you have to slightly, or give him some new tech. You know what I'm saying? Like have him get with Bruce Wayne and fucking give him some technology to fucking use. You know what I mean? Like give him, it doesn't have to all revolve around superpowers. Clearly Batman is one of the most engaging superheroes in the history of comic book characters. I mean, that's, arguably top 2, top 3, maybe even the best one. But he doesn't have a single fucking power. He is just a regular dude, just like you or me, that just wanted, I mean, granted, he has money, so he's got that, but he just wants it. He trains, he figures shit out, and like, so clearly it's not about fucking what your superpower is, or what your mutation is, or what this or that, or whatever. Because they took a fucking normal person, a normal human being, and made him into arguably the greatest superhero that lived.
Yeah, I think, he's got Poseidon's trident, I mean, you could do a lot of cool shit with that even when you're not underwater. Give him the power to
I think
command
it shoots lightning bolts.
Water. Shoot lightning bolts. Give him the power to command water even when he's on land. Like make it rain, like weather powers or something. To be able to make it rain or direct moisture, or like control the water molecules and stuff. I mean, you could come up with a gajillion different powers that all are explained by manipulating water. The moisture in the air, kind of thing. I feel like you could make him into such a badass.
So here's a quick rundown. This is from the Aquaman Wiki. So I don't know if this is like 100% true or not, but I give you this quick rundown. It says, the trident is a magical weapon that grants its wielder great power and the divine right to rule the sea. The original trident of Neptune was forged by the Cyclops out of adamantium and Neptune's own essence.
Cyclops, adamantium. Are we still on DC?
Yeah, I know, right? It can manipulate and conjure water. So it could just... Yeah. As well as disperse energy in the form of bolts and force fields.
You can literally make it rain.
Right. The Trident of Neptune may be used by his chosen champions and was most recently wielded by Aquaman. The Trident beholds a vast number of magical powers, such as the power to command the sea, making tidal waves, whirlpools, or columns of water to stand on. Control the weather, summoning rain, storms, creating rainbows.
See?
Okay, now come on. Rainbows.
Hey, not rainbows.
Unleash blasts of lightning and even turn living creatures into something else. There's a ton of fucking, like, that right there. Okay, if that thing can actually turn creatures into something else, that's huge. That's a fucking story in and of itself. Like, have somebody fucking possess Aquaman and have him just go on
around
a fucking
polymorphing
tirade.
people into fish out of water.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just have him go around on a fucking tirade, unleashing lightning and fucking monsoons and fucking turning people into all kinds of crazy animals and shit. Like, fucking turn a motherfucker into the Kraken right in the middle of fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you're a carp, and you're a carp, and you're a carp, and you're a carp.
Damn, did Oprah fucking just get the trident of Neptune?
Exactly, pretty much.
Everybody's a carp. Damn. This show just took a mean hook into Weirdsville. But no, I'm saying, like, it sounds like he's got some pretty interesting powers that you
apparently I didn't even know that those were his powers, because I'm sitting here saying, oh, they should give him the power to blah blah blah. It turns out, hey, look, he's already got it.
Motherfucker, I already do it. Like, why aren't they using this shit? That's what I don't understand, is like, if he's got all these powers, like, for starters, okay, the entire character of Storm in the X-Men, who's one of the top tier characters in X-Men, his fucking staff does all of the shit she can do, plus more.
Yep.
Like, if they can create a fucking awesome character over in Marvel out of just one of the things that the staff can do, why can't they fucking work it for Aquaman?
Okay, I think I figured it out. Alright, Superman. Forget powers. We're not talking about powers. Describe who Superman is, his personality.
Do-gooder. Confident.
Now describe Batman's personality.
I see where you're going with this.
Describe Aquaman's personality. Do you even know what it is?
Pissed. Aquaman's personality.
I don't even know what it is.
No, I don't either. That's a very valid point. Like, I have
powers
no
aside,
idea.
how do you describe him as a person? What are his motivations? Like, what's he like? How does he act? What are his catchphrases? You know, like,
I'm going to sign this as homework for the two of us, myself included. Is we need to both go and read some Aquaman and see if we can figure out what Aquaman's personality is like.
I'm not a great writer. I don't do well at writing stuff, stories and fiction and whatnot. But I feel like I could make a pass at writing a Batman story or a Thor story or a Storm story,
because you already know what they're
or a
like.
Superman story, because I know those characters. Shit, I could take a bunch of B and C list characters and I could probably write a story for them. Give me Aquaman, and I'm like, I don't even know who this character is. I know what he does.
Fucking.
I just found out from Wikipedia what he does.
Has Jeff Johns ever wrote Aquaman? Has Jeff Johns ever wrote Aquaman? Maybe that's the answer, because that motherfucker can write anything.
Well, he wrote him in Blackest Night, didn't he?
I don't think so. I don't think he wrote the Aquaman issues.
He wrote
the character
in the main series. He was in Aquaman, had a part.
But I'm saying, give him the fucking solo series. Put fucking Jeff Johns on that shit for a year, and fucking Aquaman will have a personality, and you will know exactly who he is.
And the new most complicated backstory in all of comics history.
That very well could be the case. He is definitely well known for making extremely intricate storylines with lots of fucking background. I think it could be awesome, though. Who knows? I would like to see. I would like to see it. I'm personally going to take it as a challenge to myself to go out there and try and read a little bit more Aquaman and find out a little bit more about that character, because I don't know shit about him.
And now I kind of want to know the answer to that question.
What Aquaman?
Who is Iron Man? Who is Aquaman? God, I'm getting all kinds of superheroes mixed up today.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this episode. Sorry you were stuck with us two shitheads without the rest of the crew. But stay tuned. Next week we'll be back with another great episode. Hopefully, I think we'll have the whole crew. I don't know. I have to talk to everybody. But
you know what? I think we should encourage everyone to pass this episode on to your friends, and I think it would be really amusing if we got the viewership of this episode without them. Like,
that would be great.
Our highest, best episode ever.
That would be pretty funny. So yeah, if you
could laugh with them next week. So
if you are clearly
that's your mission. It's your mission, listeners.
Yeah, if you're still listening at this point, 50-something minutes in, you are clearly a true fan. Watch this shit twice. Watch it 3 times.
Watch it at home. Watch it at work.
Turn it on before you go to bed at night.
Phone.
And pass this shit on to every motherfucker that you know, because it'd be real funny to rub in their face.
We want to rub this high score in their faces next week.
Got more views than we typically do with everybody. That'd be pretty funny. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week. I'm Fox 2, and we got Topher.
Have a great week.